So I'm back again with Ruby, which I think this is now our fourth video together, which I didn't actually plan on doing another video with her so soon. But the last video that was posted was so controversial, so many different opinions on it that me and Ruby talked about it, and we felt that it would be necessary to come back and have a more empowered discussion about it. So we're not going to focus on this being to a particular attacker or a particular comment, but we realize that it's a deeper issue. It's a certain energy that's in the EXJW community, and that energy wants to basically silence people that don't comply to how they feel about things. So it's like I call this term comply or be silenced, because first, if somebody doesn't like what you're saying or bringing, they will first maybe approach you right away and tell you why it's wrong. And then if you don't comply, then they want to silence and that comes in a form of usually being attacked. So we're going to just discuss more so the energy that's responsible for this, and how cyberbullying is not okay. So that was my introduction, and I'll give the floor to you, Ruby. Thanks again for coming back, and I'm sorry that I even I'm sorry to put you through this, because really I just want to have a normal interview with you, and it turned into something bigger. But I think it was necessary.
Mhm.
I think that this kind of thing it needs to happen.
The conversation needs to be had. And even with the topic about friendship, even that is not discussed enough. So that's why I put myself out there to talk about these things: friendships, community, and how to navigate that. Because that's going to happen if you're in the community or out of the community. You know what I'm saying? Like, it happens to everybody. That doesn't make it okay. It also doesn't make it okay to say that just because we are YouTube personalities or YouTubers, that just because we put ourselves out there, that it leaves the door open for that negativity to happen. You see, that's not an excuse to say, well, I have the right to say this because you put yourself out there. No, that's not okay either. So, especially because we are in a very small community, it may happen a lot. You notice it a lot more because it's the same viewers, the same commenters. We see each other on different channels. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel the need to kind of bring it back, because I saw your video and I had a discussion um with an expert, you might say. And like I told you personally, I don't want that to come across as another personal attack towards somebody else by calling them out or singling somebody out. It's like, no, it's not about the person. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about that commenter. It's about the energy behind that. It's about that bad negative energy, the tone of it. It's like the message that they're putting out there to us is negative. So of course we're going to read it, but like I said in my comment on that video, is that thank God I'm strong enough. I'm healed enough that those things don't bother me. But what if it did? And like you said, certain things like that can lead to people committing suicide because of how personally they took it. They took the offense. So I thank God that I'm strong enough that it doesn't bother me anymore. I thank God that I'm able to continue to speak my views despite knowing that 99% of everyone might disagree with it. A lot of people may cower or get intimidated and just keep their views to themselves. But I'm no longer like that. We already spoke about this. You know what I'm saying? It's like we are no longer tied to that silencing. Like you said, there's different tactics, level one, level two, and they take it to 1,000 every single time. But we are not wounded anymore, that we just bend the knee and say, sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. No, I am not that wounded JW or XJW. I'm just not wounded anymore. So that's why I felt the need to bring it back, because I felt like your video you hit every nail on the head, and you even put your own opinions out there. And I'm thankful for that. I will never tell you how to talk on your channel or what video to make or what not to make. But I wanted the message to come across a little bit more, maybe less about how I actually felt about it and more about the real problem. What's the real problem behind these types of comments? And that's why I call it cyberbullying. And it's not even that severe. These people, they don't use curse words or anything like that. It's not even that severe. But when you broke it down, the severity comes out. Like you said, at first glance, it doesn't even look like what you discovered. But the more you dig into it, that's when you finally realize it. And if you have a high EQ, not necessarily an IQ, but an EQ, you would realize and identify everything that me and you already identified. Because I would consider myself high EQ because it's that emotional intelligence that when you're reading through the lines, you're like, what the hell? Like, what the heck did she just say? So that's what I'm talking about. And other people are going to notice it too. That's why I don't respond, to each and every comment, but I'm going to respond to that energy, that negativity. And that's what makes the community toxic. It's because that energy is never called out. It is never disciplined. It is never exposed. And they just continue going around as if everybody's supposed to be buddy buddy. And it's not always like that. If you do find that, congratulations. But then when you see it happening to other XJWs who are on the internet and everybody stays silent about it, that's where the problem lies. Everybody views it and they talk to each other personally on the phone or whatever, but publicly speaking, nobody's talking about it. Nobody says, oh my gosh, the way you're commenting on Quinn's channel is inappropriate. Nobody came to the defense as what you did recently. Nobody has ever come to that defense. And that's why I wrote that paragraph. I said, thank you for defending me, because nobody would even do a video with me or defend me in the way that you have. I feel like I'm the most canceled XJW because of my political views. But yet you did that. And that's why I appreciate it. So I thought that this second video should be about that. It should be about the negativity, the energy. It's the energy behind that and how to navigate it.
Yeah. And a couple of things I want to comment on too is, so I wrote in a comment on my channel because a couple people, they were worried about how this may look to maybe Jehovah's Witnesses waking up and things like that. And I do understand that. But let me explain it like this. So going back to grade school, the bullies in grade school, everybody knows the psychology of the bully, that until you stand up to the bully, they keep bullying and bullying and bullying. And sometimes, I'm talking about children at this point, but sometimes when a child is bullied, that can emotionally mess the rest of their life up if it doesn't get corrected right away. There's people who were bullied and they were called ugly and things like that. No matter how attractive they may be, they still struggle with feeling ugly because they were bullied.
Right.
So, but everybody also knows that people that bully usually are the kids that are the most messed up. They probably have the more messed up lives at home, which is why they go to school and bully, because maybe their parents bully them or their older brother or older sister bullies them. So there's psychology behind it. So the bully's not as tough as most people think. So usually what happens is when somebody finally stands up to the bully, and I'll even talk about it from a physical standpoint. So when it comes to a physical bully, sometimes that guy that stands up to the bully, and I'll give this quick example. So I grew up in an apartment complex, and there was this neighborhood bully, and this is a little bit older. This is not like when we were like probably like 13 years old, right? So maybe like middle school or something like that.
Right.
But there was this bully, and he was like 2 years older than everybody else, and he was a bully. He bullied everybody, and it was to the point where like nobody would fight him because everybody just assumed, oh, he'll kick my ass and stuff like that. So anyway, he tried bullying me, and I stood up to him. And I fought this kid 3 times. The first time I won. The second time it was a tie, and the third time I think that I won, but people said it was a tie. But anyway, the point is that everybody was so
Hmm.
shocked that I stood up to this kid, and he was in
Right.
an older age group, and
Hmm.
I didn't consider myself to be that tough. But when I stood up and fought with this kid, like the first time I beat him, and then the second time it was a tie. Then the third time I won,
Hmm.
but they said it was a tie. But anyway, the point is that like the bully does need to somebody needs to stand up to the bully. Is what I'm saying. So the way that I came across in the last video. So if you really think about what I did, all that I did was I exposed cyberbullying. I exposed it.
Right.
And I did it in a sarcastic sense, but sometimes you have to fight fire with fire. So like that sarcasm, that's just the way that I exposed it. But the root of the problem is that if you don't stand up to this online bullying, they will keep doing it and they will keep attacking
Right.
people and slandering people. And
Right.
if nobody, because here's the thing, as far as I know, I'm the only XJW that put a video like that out, completely
Hmm.
exposing it, but also calling it out. Like, I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of the pushback. I don't even care. If people
Me
are upset
neither.
about the way that I handle, I don't care. But that's what's needed. Otherwise, these people are going to keep bullying it. And
Right.
another thing I want to mention about this whole, the way going back to the energy. So I mentioned it in the beginning. I think I mean, I'm making up this name for it. It's not a real name, but I'm calling it comply or be silenced. So in the Jehovah's Witness world, if you don't comply, they silence you, right? So think about it from every level. So say like you raise your hand during the Watchtower study, and your
Hmm.
comment is outside of the box. It's not approved by Watchtower doctrine, right? It hasn't been
Right.
sanctioned by Watchtower. Immediately, the Watchtower conductor is trained to correct you from the platform. He'll make a point to make sure that everybody knows, well, that was wrong, sister so and so, or not exactly. Like he'll correct you, and then he'll call on
Hmm.
3 other people to drown your answer out, like to make sure that the congregation.
Exactly. Yep. My
And
mom used to
then
be one of those
yeah,
commentators.
yeah. So, but when you think about it, that's a form of like comply or be silent. So what will
Right.
happen is that sometimes after the meeting, the Watchtower conductor may counsel that person privately,
Hmm.
and if the
Hmm.
person doesn't comply, and if they continue to make a comment like that, they will silence them. And the Watchtower conductor won't call on them. Sometimes you see those people at the Kingdom Hall and they have their hand raised, and you see the conductor ignore them
Right.
on purpose. That's a form of silencing.
Exactly.
And then
Exactly.
another example was that when I was a public speaker, so not everybody knows this, but when you give public talks, they have something called the auxiliary counselor. And so like if I give a public talk in another congregation, there would be an elder there assigned, and he
Hmm.
would have a copy of the outline. And as you're giving a public talk, there's one elder sitting there, and he's going through the outline to make sure you don't veer off too much. If you veer off too much from the
Mm.
outline, they counsel you after the meeting. Now they don't do it in front of everybody because it's a public talk, so not everybody knows this happens, and it's called the auxiliary counselor. So anyway, I always got in trouble by these auxiliary counselors because I was always an outside of the box speaker, and
Right.
and the thing is, people liked it. They liked the energy I was bringing, but the congregations that were like sticklers,
Hmm.
you used the scripture that's not in the outline, and they would always counsel me. So anyway, I actually got blacklisted from giving talks in congregations
Exactly.
where there's congregations that would never have me back because I went
Hmm.
off the outline too much. And then
Hmm.
it was so severe that one particular coordinator contacted my coordinator and kind of suggested, he probably shouldn't be giving talks anymore. Like they try to silence me for giving talks. Now I was a ministerial servant giving public talks, so that's why like they felt empowered to do that. So these elders from other congregations would call up my congregation and say, well, we don't think he's qualified. But anyway, it's a form of silencing because it's like
Right.
they will counsel you, and if you don't accept their counsel, and if you don't agree with them telling you that you said something outside of the box, they try to silence you. So
Right.
then going into the disfellowshipping thing, I think it's the same program because basically, as soon as you start to question the governing body, it's the same
Right.
idea. You'll immediately get counseled, And then if the elders feel like it's borderline apostasy, the first thing they'll do is try to see like, are you an apostate? And then they're going to set up a judicial committee just like that. And they don't even
Right.
care what questions you're asking. You could be asking a legitimate question about like the United Nations. That's a legitimate question, right? Why were we part of the United Nations? But you're going outside of Watchtower programming. So as soon as you ask that question, immediately they try to silence you, right? And if they feel like it's
Right.
apostate, you're disfellowshipped. And just one more example I want to give is that I know because an elder actually told me this, and other people verified it too, that during the pandemic, the elders got a letter and it said
Mhm.
something like, silence anyone that talks bad about the vaccine. And I believe that letter
Oh,
actually said silence them. So
wow.
that's a prime example of like, why can't, because this is not an issue of apostasy, why can't people in a congregation question the vaccine? The
It's
elders are
about
instructed.
control.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that that same spirit of compare
Mhm.
be silence is exactly what we're dealing with. Because
Right.
when you say something that, or you say something or do something that other XJWs don't like, they first may immediately try to correct you, like, oh, that's wrong. You shouldn't have said that. You should. And if you don't comply, they go to trying to silence you, but they can't disfellowship you. So how do they silence you? To destroy your character assassination. And that's
Right,
what I
the
think we're dealing
tactics.
with.
So it goes into different levels. That's just level one. It's like a comment of disagreement is level one. Then level two is the rumors and the gossip because they start communicating with other people behind your back to ruin your reputation. And level three and onward, it just gets worse from there. So if you don't nip it in the bud right now, it's gonna continue to get worse. And like, I can speak for both of us. We don't play those games. And that's why I do what I do. And that's why I'm not so easily dismissed. It's like, no, you're not going to get rid of me just because you don't like me. If you want to unsubscribe, by all means, go right ahead. Nobody's forcing you to stay on my channel or to watch our content. Bye. Like nobody really cares. But when you leave that type of energy there, it will be removed. It will get deleted because I do not engage with that negative energy. And the same logic that you just gave with those JW examples, that's exactly what they do here. It's just a very small individual level. And it just worsens from there's like different degrees to it. And if it's not on my channel, they'll go on to the next one. They did it to you recently. They have made thousands, hundreds of insinuations about you and your character. Oh, don't talk to that guy because he doesn't treat women well, or whatever the case may be. And when that was happening, that's why I commented on those videos in support because I don't listen to the noise and the gossip and the rumors. I go straight to the person. Like we've had personal conversations. We spoke, we've explained the different scenarios that are private because we're not going to go in public and talk about these people or name names or target people. That's why I want to focus on the message and the energy rather than the specific people because they're just using us as targets to direct that is it's misguided anger because they are angry about something. They do dislike something. They do have an issue with something, but they're not putting it in the right place. So and they direct it towards us. And I'm not going to do the same exact thing. I'm not going to treat other people how I don't want to be treated. I'm going to treat other people how I want to be treated. So I would never go around making those types of comments. So we can bring it back to that because it is that same logic that fuels this type of energy. Like you said, why would somebody spend the time and the energy to write a whole paragraph about why they don't like something? Or if they're going to talk about me under your video, why don't you go straight to me and say it to me? Why are you going through somebody else and another avenue and another channel to talk about somebody? That is gossip. It's like, why don't you go straight to the person? And if you don't do that, then just don't say nothing at all, right? What's the golden rule? If you don't have nothing nice to say, just don't say it at all. But you felt the need to write that. And that's why I consider it a very mild form of cyberbullying. And if you know, but other people, other YouTubers, other XJWs were making actual videos like 30-hour videos talking about me. That is another form of cyberbullying because none of it was accurate. None of it was proven. No receipts were shown. So you're just talking crap for 30 to an hour. If you see, this is my thing. If you want to do that, go right ahead, but provide some receipts or invite the person who you talking about and say, yo, I want you to come on my channel so we can discuss something. If you really want to make content or if you really want to, have a conversation about it. But like you said in your last video, nobody is seeking the truth. Nobody is searching for it. They love to talk about you behind your back, but they don't ask and say, hey, can I see where you're getting your information from? Can we fact check this? So all of it is just misinformation. All of it is just talk. But that's why I want to have this conversation to actually talk about that it's not okay in the community sense. And I want to give a couple of more examples, but give me your opinion about that first.
Yeah, so one thing I want to touch on too is like when you mentioned like, okay, if you got a problem with somebody, go to the person.
Right.
So I thought it was interesting that the video that I did last week, so the person didn't like the fact that I called them out. And one of the things they said is, oh, well, why couldn't you send me a private email?
Right. Right.
So I want you to think about this, everybody listening to this. So Ruby gets attacked and slandered and all this remarks about her very
Mhm.
publicly, right? Put on a
Right.
public page on purpose, a comment for everybody
Right.
to see, right?
Mhm.
But then when I respond to it, the same person wrote in their reply, oh, well, if you had an issue, why couldn't you send me an email?
Right.
So so when it comes to talking trash about Ruby, oh, do that right in an open, like slander her, put her face out there, all that. That's okay. But you want a private email so that nobody can see what you did or how I'm calling it out. It makes no sense because if she sent you a private email to begin with, if she feels like, hey, this should be private, that's what she should have done. If she wanted to know why you're wearing wigs or whatever, her trash talking, she could have contacted you, and said, hey,
Mhm.
Ruby, do you still feel the same way about this that you said a year ago? Like, but they didn't do that. They purposely, instead of contacting you directly, they purposely put it out there. But then
Right.
when I call it
Mhm.
out, they want a private email. So
But that's the excuse that I said earlier in the beginning of this video. It's the fake excuse that just because we're YouTube personalities or YouTubers that they have the right to do that, whereas they are not public people. They don't have their real name or their real photo out there. That they deserve that courtesy. Oh, why don't you just talk to me privately? But the other way around, I'm not giving that courtesy. You're not giving that courtesy because we're public people. And that gives them the leeway to be keyboard warriors overnight and talk crap about somebody. And like I told you yesterday on the phone, you think that they will talk like that in real life? No. You know how polite that same person would be in real life? So it's because they're on the internet that they grew some cojones or something because they're behind a screen, they're on a keyboard. So there's no accountability for that type of speech or behavior. It's only when they get called out that now they feel like the spotlight is on them. It's like, oh, well, you could have just called me or sent me an email. But like you just said, the courtesy wasn't given to us. And unfortunately, because we are still a growing community with a lot of people from different backgrounds, with a lot of trauma, these things are going to happen. And that's why I felt the need to discuss these types of topics in a public forum, in a video or a live show or whatever. I appreciate this more than going back and forth on the comment section, arguing with people. You're talking to a wall. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least I know you're a real person. I see your face, I know your real name. You put yourself out there. I know you're real. I don't know if that person is real or if it's just a bot that I'm arguing with. I'm not gonna waste my time with that. But if it's a real person who actually takes the time and the energy to be open-minded, to ask me these questions directly, sure, I will give you the time of my day to have a real conversation. But we're not going to go back and forth in the comment section. And I also don't want either you or me or anybody else to make video after video after video talking about somebody's stupid comment. You know what I'm saying? Like don't even pay attention to that. Let's talk about the real message that we want to share. And it's about that energy that it's a form of bullying because it's not that severe. It's not like somebody's hitting you physically, but emotionally they're hitting you. And they're being passive aggressive by saying, "Oh, well, I just disagree with you." You can disagree with me and you can say it the right way. It's the words you use, the how you say it, the tone of voice. You know what I'm saying? Like there is a right way to do something and a wrong way to do something. So I would like to at least do it the right way, in my opinion, and talk about what's behind the noise. You know what I'm saying? It's like they want you to focus on this, but there's something underneath that is a problem, and that's what we need to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. So before we get into deep the energy behind it, just say for your viewers that are watching this, and I want to say this for the record, but also to give an example to show how me and Ruby are talking about the same exact thing, the same energy that you've seen her get attacked with is the same exact energy, even some of the same people, but not all of them. So just for the record, so my YouTube channel is over 2 years old. I've never had issues with people because for the most part, I've just focused on breaking down Watchtower. So a lot of my
Right.
personal views I never put out there, so people couldn't attack me because they didn't really know what those views were because I focused just on Watchtower. So I'm not going to get into the whole detail, but just the gist of it is that I got permission from somebody to post an interview of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So I got permission from the person who owned the interview, you could say,
Mm-hmm.
and he gave me permission. So I had his permission. So some XJWs didn't like the fact that I posted this interview. So long
Mm-hmm.
story short, they tried to tell me why I need to take it down. And when I didn't comply, I got attacked. And that's the
Exactly.
point of it. So
Right.
and when I got attacked, it was interesting because at first the person behind the attack wasn't really that upset about they just wanted me to take it down. And when I made it clear that, well, I have permission to have this, um, then it's like they started slandering me. And then like the rumor that picked up was I'm threatening towards women. But the
Right.
reason I want to bring that up to get into the energy is that I've never had a reputation like that. I've never had any issues with that. It was literally once I told this person and a group behind it, I am not going to remove this video, then
Right.
this was the slander going on about me. So,
Mm-hmm. I
um,
remember it well. I
yeah,
remember that well. And you see, even in that situation, your comeback was showing the receipts. And yeah, I didn't comment this, but during that time, I remember saying this, like, thank God he did that. Thank God that you defended yourself with the actual receipts. You had pictures, you had screenshots. You defended yourself. Other people would just, apologize, take it down, delete it. Don't even think twice. I don't want these problems. Just like leave me alone, right? And if that's okay too. But if you're going to stick around here, you're not going to let people push you around and create those rumors because that's a very serious accusation with the things that they were saying. I mean, it's worse than what you're actually saying, honestly, because in my opinion, that would be like top 10 worst things you could say about somebody on the internet, especially in our community. Like what? That's misinformation. If you don't have the actual receipts to prove that, don't be accusing people out here because that's very dangerous. And when you came back and you showed receipts, I was like, thank God he did that. Come with the receipts. Speak to the person directly. Don't go on the internet spreading all this misinformation and then claim to be a person in this community that wants truth, right? Because the entire XW community, we exist because we were being lied to for our entire life, because we were being indoctrinated to believe something that wasn't true. So what are we now? We are literal truth seekers, or we should be. And if you're not, then there's something seriously wrong, because you're not healing, you're not growing if you're going to keep buying the lies from other people. If you're truly healing in this type of community, what you're going to be doing is searching for the truth. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and one thing too about those receipts is that I did show in that comeback video that it was literally in that order. This person wasn't saying nothing bad about me, just that they wanted me to remove this video. When it was clear I was not going to do it, then
Right.
now all of a sudden, this person who I don't even know is
Right.
spreading these rumors about me. And like you said, those are things that are very damaging because when stuff is on the internet, it is there forever. And
Right.
unfortunately, like when you say stuff about uh any sort of domestic violence, there are people who are very close-minded and they'll just think always believe the woman no matter what. So like people will believe it just
Right.
because I'm a man and oh he's threatening
Right.
towards women and that can stick with somebody forever. So that's not okay. So
Right.
another thing that happened was that so okay, so yeah, so when I made that comeback video, because I'm so, and I'll admit when I'm wrong. So there's a couple things that I will say because I can admit when I'm wrong, and I think that's the problem. A lot of these toxic people that start trouble, even when you call them out, they can't just admit, they can't just say, you know what, you're right, I shouldn't have said that. Or they cannot apologize. But
Right.
I will say what I did that was wrong. So um because the way that I do my videos, I do show the receipt on everything. So I was determined to break down every little thing. And when I
Mm-hmm.
make the video, what I did was I used people's Facebook picture with their name on it. So
Right.
partly why the video got removed is because technically, even though Facebook is public, that if you use somebody's picture that you got from their Facebook profile, they can come after you with a copyright strike and say, "Hey, you don't have so they can say that." So that's why the
Right.
video got removed. So then people twisted it and said I was
Mhm.
doxing women. Now, just to be very clear about this, so
Mhm.
you can't dox somebody with something that's already public.
Public, or yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So like if you go on Facebook, everybody's first and last name is on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm calling out people who have YouTube channels, who are on Facebook, who've done interviews with their first and last name. So me taking their picture and putting it on the screen, that's not dox. Doxing somebody is like if I had a problem with you, Ruby, and I said, okay, Ruby Quinn, she lives at this address. Like that's doxing somebody. That's
Exactly.
why
And
it's
it's
dangerous.
dangerous.
Yeah,
And that is seriously dangerous.
yeah.
That you see what I'm saying? It
Mhm,
when you make those accusations,
mhm,
those are serious criminal offenses when you
mhm,
dox somebody,
mhm,
when you put their address out there, when you
mhm,
put a photo of their actual house.
mhm,
And you said it in that video. I got this picture from Google. It's fake. It's not the person's real
mhm,
house. Like you gave the disclaimer right in the
mhm,
video. And it's like nobody, it went over everybody else's
mhm.
head and they rather believe the lie.
I have to be close to her house to get the text messages, right? So I'm like in front of her house, not really that in front of her house, but I'm like say, and this is just fake pictures. This is not what it really looked like. I'm using these generic pictures just to give you an idea of the setting. So I can only text back to her when I'm close enough to her house. So
When you
mhm,
dox somebody,
mhm,
when you put their address out there, when you
mhm,
put a photo of their actual house.
mhm,
And you said it in that video. I got this picture from Google. It's fake. It's not the person's real
mhm,
house. Like you gave the disclaimer right in the
mhm,
video. And it's like nobody, it went over everybody else's
mhm,
head and they rather believe the lie.
mhm,
Because I don't know what it is. Maybe that's just a personality issue or something, a character flaw. I don't know. But I listen very carefully, especially when it's something as serious as what you went through. I listen very carefully. Even when I was going through it and people were making videos about me, I didn't want to, but I was listening to every word they said so that at least I knew deep down inside that I know they're lying. I have the receipts. I know myself. You're not going to gaslight me and tell me, oh, well, you're this and you're that. and it's true as if it's a fact. And if you don't know yourself well enough, you will believe the lies. You will get gaslit. You will become depressed. You will let these bullies take over your mind, your emotions, and your spirituality. Everything will be affected because you're being bullied by these people and you believe the lie. No, you need to be mentally stronger than that. If you can defend yourself like we've done, provide the receipts like we've offered, put yourself out there like we have, put our names, our faces out there like we've already done. It's like this is full transparency. There's nothing to hide. And when I talk about my opinions, my belief system, my politics, I have said things that I actually believe. I'm not hiding something or trying to make a sound bite out of something or rage bait somebody. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just giving my personal beliefs out there. The way it is perceived, that's on the viewer. But at least I was true to myself, and I am always true to that, to my own truth, so that I'm not tripped up or I'm not accused of something and I have to apologize for it, because I will never apologize for it because that's how I actually feel. Like, what? I am going to be my true self 100% of the time. So when these things happen, I can say, you know what? You're right. I do believe those things. It's not slander if it's true. I do believe those things. But it is also true that with the tone of the voice or the comment or the emojis used or the words, the negative words like delusional, crazy, it's like they're name calling without name calling, that's where the negativity sets in. And people just read it. Nobody really replies. They just keep on moving on with their lives, and nobody actually addresses that negativity, that negative energy. You could have said the exact same thing and not use any of those negative words to describe the person that you're critiquing or that you disagree with. That's what I'm trying to say. Say what you need to say, and how about you be nice about it? Like, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to be nice about it. You can disagree with somebody very respectfully.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing I did want to say before we go further too is that what I will say is that because I'm such a perfectionist the way I do my videos, that I want to make sure everything was out there. So I could have still defended myself and not necessarily put everybody's picture there. So
Mhm.
I can go back and say, you know what, I didn't have to do the way, but at the same time, I'm not perfect. Like, yeah, I was pissed off. When you're slandering
Right.
somebody with stuff that will destroy their life or try to destroy their life, I'm not going to be perfect. So did I handle it not the best way? I probably didn't. But I addressed it immediately. I didn't let because like you said, those rumors, if you don't nip it right away, it can get much worse. So I defended myself like within just a couple of days of as soon as I heard that was going
Right.
on. Um,
Right.
and then like I will say this, so there's one person that there's two people that I didn't have to pull into it. So one, the first name begins with an S. I won't even say the whole name, but there's one person that I put in there because one of these other people claimed this other person said something. And because I was so pissed off that I just put them all on the screen. But there was one person that I can say I shouldn't have pulled into that just on their
Right.
sake.
Right. And you can at
Yeah.
least admit that and reflect on that. You see, this is why when we had this conversation, and like I said it here, this is why I don't focus on the individual. I focus on what the end that energy. It's very negative. I would even call it a little demonic, because it's like, how are you attacking this person in that way? Because it is very serious. It can escalate to criminal charges. That's when you're really ruining, you could ruin somebody's life. That's why I don't really focus on naming names or individual comments, because it's never about the actual person, like you said about the bully. It's because they're in a troubled home, maybe, or maybe they're being abused themselves and they abuse others. There's a phrase, hurt people. So it's like, how can you engage with people who are hurting themselves? So I try my best to come back to this with the compassion, with empathy, at least sympathy. Because if I can't empathize, I want to at least come from an understanding. I want to understand why this person said this, how they said it, what was the mind frame while typing this, what was the emotion behind this. And like I said, when you nailed everything in the last video, when you spoke about like you were speculating, maybe this is jealousy, maybe this is this, maybe this is that, maybe it is, but are we going to come back with that with the same energy? No. I mean, I know you say like fight the fire with fire. In some instances, I would totally agree with you because those were serious accusations. But if it's something stupid like a disagreement, I'm not gonna come back with the same fire. It's like, okay, congratulations, you disagreed with me. Do you feel better about yourself? So did you feel better about yourself when you were putting somebody else down? And if that's a yes, then you really need to reflect. You need to reflect because you shouldn't be getting happy about putting somebody else down or feeling better when you put your comment there and you felt like, yeah, hit enter. Yeah, I got her or I got him. It's like, it's very, very stupid to me. And it contradicts their message because just like how I want to give my real message about that energy, it defeats the purpose of their message because once again they're putting noise instead of actually getting to the meat of their disagreement. It's like, why do you disagree with me? You're mentioning a whole lot of pork, but you're not telling me what the reason is. What is it? Is it something I said or did, or is it because I actually lied about something? Like, what do you believe that makes you disagree so much so that you attack the person, the how they look? You know what I'm saying? It's like when they have no argument, they start looking for things to attack you on. And that's what I want to come down to even their message. What are they trying to convey to me? How can I dig through that pork and get to the real issue? That's what I want to do.
Yeah, when you said how like they will sometimes look for things, just to
Mhm,
segue to another thing I want to bring up. So when you stopped your political show season one and you took a break
mhm,
and people didn't know if you were coming back.
mhm.
So this is just my opinion on why it happened, but during that period of time when you were done, you and your co-host Jimmy, you were done, you guys were taking a break. They didn't know if you were really coming back or not. So during that time when people could not gossip about you because you're not giving them any new content, people during that period they came over to my channel and they started attacking me. Why are you using the term XJW elite? So
Right.
I I explained it, and this is what people didn't see, and this is partly what I expressed in that video that I did, but I explained right away. They left me a comment, why do you, and I explained it very politely. I said, this is what I mean by that. I don't think I'm better than anybody, but it's this and that. They ignored it, made a comment on another video, more aggressive. And then
Right.
so it's like, and then when I refuse to comply, then I get attacked for it. They
Right.
attack me. And I was told they made a video about it. I honestly didn't check
Yep.
what content, but it's like, you're going to make a whole video because I already explained it very politely, but it's
Right.
like you said, it's like looking for stuff.
Right.
So when you stop your channel, now all of a sudden these people who I never had an issue with them, now they're like looking for stuff. And it goes back to the
Yep.
point of like the comply or be silenced is that if I don't comply, if you can tell me, hey, I don't think you should use this term, but I have the right to say I'm going to use it anyway. And what people don't understand about YouTube is that when you are a YouTube content creator, YouTube does have rules and regulations to follow.
Mhm.
There is no rule in YouTube that says if people in the community don't like something, you can't. There's doesn't exist. As long as you stay within the bounds of your channel, you can say pretty much anything you want within the YouTube guides and conditions. So what a lot of these
And
XJWs don't know is that it doesn't matter if they disagree with you. It doesn't matter if you are wrong. right?
Right.
If they said, if you said, Ruby, that you think that like a horse could run for political office, as crazy as that is, you have the right to say that. They can't
Exactly. We
cancel you.
live in a free
Yeah,
country. And we
yeah,
live in a free country, even at that, on top of the YouTube guidelines, because YouTube will actually stop you from saying certain things that are true. So, you have to wiggle yourself in there. The best that you can with the copyright issue. You can't talk about the C-19 stuff. You can't talk about a lot of things, you know? So I totally get you.
yeah. So like, what one message that I think goes back to the energy behind it is it's a toxic energy that if you don't comply with what they want, they try to silence you and attack you. It's like they don't understand that like we're not in Watchtower anymore where we have to be in group think. And Watchtower, you're in group think. If you think
Exactly.
outside the box, you do get attacked, you do get marked as bad association, and you do get silenced. But we're not in Watchtower anymore. So
Right.
if people are in the XJW community, it doesn't matter what they're saying or doing, they're entitled to that. So the best thing to do is what I do is I just don't watch those channels that I don't like. Um,
Exactly.
but
Simple.
I want to show an example. So again, this is not to put specific uh too much attention on a particular person, but I want to show an example of what we talked about because it was very similar to what I talked about last week, what happened to you. And I just want to show how this is very damaging to a person's reputation and to just like understand the psychology. So,
Just like blur the name in the photo because
oh
we don't
yeah,
want to give attention to again, we don't want to give
mhm,
attention to the people because I honestly believe that they are like content vultures.
yeah,
Like they're just looking for this type of attention where I don't do that. I don't give attention to the actual person. I want to give attention to that energy because that's exactly what we're talking about. So, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and I agree with you too because that is where we're trying to take a turn for things because we already called people out. People already know certain things, and
Right.
now, like you said, it's more so the energy behind it. So we don't need to call out any particular person.
Right.
So and I won't even mention what platform this was on. So anyway, I just want to say that I have a lot of people to support my channel who you wouldn't know. So it's like it's almost like I have eyes, or what's the term? Like having eyes everywhere, or fly in a
Yeah.
wall or something like that. But anyway, so somebody that was
Mhm.
in one of these group messages
Mhm.
of people attacking me, they sent me this. So and
Mhm.
they sent me a screenshot. So this person, I want to make it clear, I don't know this person. They were making rude comments on my page, so I just blocked them because people who I don't know, I just block them. I don't
Mhm.
even if I didn't have an actual interaction with somebody and they come on starting trouble, I'm not going to argue with a random person I don't know.
Right.
So
Right.
so this person has made some nasty comments on my own page and I just blocked them.
Mhm.
So they post this in a group, and I'm just going to highlight just a few quick things. Is what I've highlighted here, they're saying that Jehovah's Witnesses had the highest level of paranoid schizophrenia of any religion. So if we are going to be aware of this paranoia, what would we look for? So they're even writing it like they write for the Watchtower, the way that that's written, and that's exactly how Watchtower writes things.
True.
So
True. Mhm.
so then it says oh, so anyway, I just wanted to mention things she mentioned about schizophrenia, which she's basically saying on a public platform. She's saying I'm paranoid schizophrenia, I'm delusional. That's what she's getting at. So then she says, so today I saw the video from Quinn, and then at the bottom it says, I remember he had a video about Watchtower and pyramids.
Mhm.
Uh, she says, I remember he had a video about Watchtower and pyramids, therefore we're Masons. I explained to him how Paramenology was a 1800s religious movement that Russell was involved with, posted history also under favorites, and tried to help him understand it was a new Christian movement. So what she's
Mhm.
claiming is she's claiming that she had a conversation with me and she was trying to tell me that Russell's pyramid has nothing to do with Freemasons. So that's what she's saying. Now, sure, I've never had a conversation with this woman, just to make that clear, but that's what she's saying. So then she says, he kept deleting my explanation because it proved that he misunderstood the meaning behind things. So when she says I kept deleting her explanation, apparently she made a comment on one of my videos, is what she's saying. But
Mhm.
that's not, but she's making it sound like a conversation. So she's like, she tried to explain to me that Russell's pyramids have nothing to do with Freemasons, but I wasn't listening. So then she says, so I moved on, someone unwilling to admit when they are wrong, but misleading people and hiding truth isn't worth my time. We find people all the time willing to lead people astray. So this is one of those sneaky things. So what she's saying is she's claiming that she had a conversation with me and she tried to explain to me that Russell's Masonic pyramid has nothing to do with Masons. And she says she explained it to me. And because I didn't agree with her, she's then accusing me of saying that I'm not willing to admit I'm wrong and I'm misleading people on purpose. And I'm willing to lead people astray. So you see, it's so subtle, but it's so twisted.
Well, because that's her opinion. That's her opinion.
Yeah,
So everybody has a right to their own opinion. But why do you need a whole essay to say what you really need to say? It's like they build up the framework so that the person can already have this whole
negative view.
watchtower explanation about schizophrenia, and then at the very bottom talk about you as if she wants people to link the two when that's unnecessary. Once again, it's negative. She's insinuating that in regards to, and she's including you in that. There was no need for that. It's all unnecessary. That's exactly what I'm talking about. If you want to say what you want to say, go right ahead and say it. You don't need to preface the entire opinion because that's what it is. It's not a fact, it's your opinion. You don't need all this. Just say what you need to say. Is it really that hard for you to just say, this is my opinion? I saw this video from Quinn, yada, yada, yada. Period and send. Why you need to talk about schizophrenia and paranoia and about the community or about Jehovah's Witnesses? It has no correlation. Just give your opinion and that's that. And when you give your opinion, what this video is, what I'm trying to convey to people is that you can give that opinion. Like you said before, you have the right to be wrong. It doesn't give you the right to make accusations against people or to name call them. That's what the whole purpose of this video is. That's a great example that you're showing. Your last video was another perfect example of this type of energy, because this energy is going to present itself no matter where you are. That's what that these are the barriers that I'm trying to help people understand, is that it's not just us. It's not just XJWs. It's the entire world. It's the entire internet. But at least in this community, you have two people here willing to end that type of toxicity. Why wasn't there anyone before us who did this? And if they did do this, if anybody can let me know if somebody did speak about this, I would love to know. I would love to connect with other people who feel the same way we do about cleaning up this community and making sure that it's a safe place.
Well,
Even the Discord, even the YouTube. It's like, stop brewing the toxic energy.
yeah, and that goes along with what I said earlier about like somebody has to stand up to the bully. So it's like in grade school,
Right.
if nobody stands up to the bully, they keep bullying and terrorizing people. So like you said, did
Right.
anybody do this? No, I don't think so. Not to my word. All the YouTube videos that I've seen people get bullied in the comments. I've seen people get bullied in other videos and all that. I have not seen anybody stand up to the bullies and call it out. But one thing I do want to address to
Mm-hmm.
what she's saying is that it isn't just the fact that she disagrees. So then when she says that, so I moved on, someone unwilling to admit when they're wrong, but misleading people. So we could disagree. If she doesn't think that Russell's pyramid has anything to do with Freemasons, even though there's a Freemason symbol on the pyramid, on Russell's pyramid, there's a Freemason symbol. If she says that she's trying to correct me, that there's no connection
Right.
with.
Right.
then okay, we disagree. But she's accusing me, and this is where it comes slanderous, is
Right.
that I'm just not admitting, like I know that she's right, but I'm misleading people on purpose. That's what she's saying.
Right.
And
Right.
and that's completely twisted, and it's slanderous because I'm not misleading anybody, at least not deliberately. So if I'm wrong about something,
Exactly.
but she's saying I'm misleading people just because I'm not complying to what she's saying. So if I were what she's talking about, if I said, okay, yes, you're right, there's no connection between Freemasons, you're right. She wouldn't have any
Mhm.
of this to say, but just because I disagree, I'm purposely. But anyway, so it gets more twisted. I mean, I'm not. It's just one more thing I want to show regarding this. So this is where it just becomes strange. So she gives me a message, right? And this message, again, this is not to me. She posts this public in a public group, and she addresses this part to me, even though I'm not in the public group, right? She's saying I'm delusional. So I only have this because somebody in this group, like having eyes on the walls, who is cool with
Yeah.
me, sent this to me,
Right.
so I'd be aware of it. So this is what she says, and it's so absolutely, it's crazy. So she says, "So Quinn, let's end this debate." So you see, she's talking to me. She's calling me out. She says, "So Quinn, let's end this debate with actual factual records. Accusations are just that. The only way we can confirm or deny these accusations is running a criminal background check on him." So she's going back to the rumors that I'm threatening towards women. That's that rumor that they were spreading. This is what she's referencing it to. She's saying that they need to do a background check on me. So then this is where it gets
Hmm.
really crazy. She says, "So Quinn," so you see she's talking to me. "So
Even though
Quinn,
you're not in the group,
I'm not
even
in the
though you're
group.
not in the group,
I'm not in the group."
she's talking to the air right now, talking to the
Yeah.
air.
And she says that I'm delusional and schizophrenic. But anyway, so she says, "So Quinn, I will help you clear your name if there are
Hmm.
false. Give me your
Hmm.
name, your
Hmm.
authoritarian, including your license privately DM. The license proves it is really, and I will spend up to $200 for the best criminal check out there. I want to clear your name if it is false. If it's true, then the truth is the truth." So she's almost like trying to gaslight me, like she's doing this to be my friend. But think about how crazy
No.
this is. And she
You,
says that,
you,
but, okay,
uh-huh.
so
Hmm.
you think, right,
Hmm.
that I am going to take my driver's license and send it to
Mm-mm.
this crazy woman who I do
Mm-mm.
not know, who's slandering me and attacking me, and I already blocked her off my page, and I'm going to send her personal information? Like, it is so, like here's the thing. In all honesty, when I first read this, I was kind of afraid. And let me tell you what I mean when I say I was afraid. So I'm not intimidated by anybody in the XJW community, and partly is because of what I went through. It's not that I think I'm a tough guy, but I've gone through so much that I'm
Right,
just not
right,
afraid.
right, right.
But if this woman ever showed up within 50 yards of my house, a woman that is asking me to send my driver's license to her, if she
Hell no.
this scares me. Like, this woman would scare me. Like, this is like Night of the Living Dead. You know, like in Night of the Living Dead where they had to board up the windows because the zombies were coming in. I
I'm
swear,
gonna have to watch that.
if this woman came anywhere near me, I would literally board up the windows and be afraid. I'm afraid of this woman. This is a crazy person because
Mm-hmm.
you slander and attack me and write a whole paragraph like this. I already blocked
Yeah.
this woman from my channel. So the fact that I blocked her, she should have left me alone. Then she does this, and then she's asking me, she's that delusional that she
Mm-hmm.
thinks I'm going to send my driver's license to her. Like, it's so insane. Like,
You
and then again, I'm not even in the group chat, but she's talking to me.
exactly. It's like she's just talking to herself or to
Yeah,
whoever's in the group. She wants to sound all big and tough. And you could blur out these names as well.
I will. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
so
But you
then
know,
I
okay.
this is the
Uh-huh.
last thing. So again, I blocked her. I blocked her from my channel.
Mm-hmm.
He then posts that crap, right? And she thinks I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
send her personal
Uh-huh.
documents. So
Mm-hmm.
then, like, she goes to Bull Benson's page and writes this nasty comment on Bull Benson's page. She says, Yes, go meet with Quinn. I hear he needs a home and loves to drink. Invite him to live with you. So if you watch the last video that I did, like this is the same type of thing. Like if you read in between the lines, what
Yes.
she's saying is that I'm a homeless alcoholic. That's what she's saying. And that's very damaging. Like she's saying, go meet with Quinn. I hear he needs a home and loves to drink. What does that mean, love to drink? She's insinuating I'm an alcoholic
Right.
and I'm homeless.
Right.
Now, and then like this is why I'm saying you have to stand up to the bullies in general with this energy at least because
Mm-hmm.
how is it that people like me and Ruby can just be slandered with absolute slander and
Right.
nobody says anything to them, right? But then
Exactly.
people get upset with me if I finally stand up to this and I call this out. Like, why is nobody going to these people and saying, "Hey, that's very
Exactly.
slanderous"?
That's what I'm saying is that everybody in the community sees this.
Yeah.
We're gonna blur their names, but
Mm.
on YouTube or Facebook, their names are there. So
Yeah.
we actually know who these people are.
Mm.
They know who these people are, and nobody replies with, "I'm sorry, this sounds a little crazy." Not to be offensive, but that sounds inappropriate. Like, is anybody else reading the same thing I'm reading? And I just want to say, when I see stuff like this, it genuinely makes me laugh. And I'm not laughing at you or downplaying the way you feel about it, but honestly, to me, no offense, it makes me laugh. It's a joke to me. It's like they're trying to be so serious and so tough that it's like you're not. You're just making stuff up. You have a whole freaking 500-word essay on Facebook or YouTube to say what exactly? To just make more accusations, to spread more rumors as if you know the guy? Like I said in our initial video, none of these people have met us in real life. We've only seen each other on here, YouTube or Zoom or a phone call, but you haven't even met me in real life. So what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? It's like, how can you say something like that about somebody who you've never met in your life? So please take a seat, calm down, drink some water, and come back when you're ready. Like you said, it is very childish. It's very like, you need a timeout, honey. You need to sit down because what you're doing and what you're saying is exactly what you're trying. That, like you said, that's projection. You're projecting this type of energy. You're calling him these names, but what does it say about you? So when we dive into this psychology, right? Because that was the title of your last video. Let's dive into the psychology. I call it energy as well because it's in the mind, right? But it's also in your heart. There's something there's something wrong there. Like there's a darkness there when somebody makes these accusations about somebody that they've never met before. So why would you do that? If you wouldn't do that in real life, right? If you saw Quinn right now in the street, would you say that to him? I don't think so. And if you would, then there's a discussion to be had. You know what I'm saying? Like there's accountability in the moment because you have the person right in front of you. You can have a conversation, but that doesn't happen on the internet. So there's no accountability. You say these things, but I bet you anything you wouldn't say that in real life. And if you do, get ready for the consequences. You do have the right to say how you feel and have an opinion, but you also are putting yourself out there for the consequences. You could get, people knock people out in the street. People take other people to court. People, file lawsuits against one another just for speech like this. You know what I'm saying? So even though you have the freedom of speech, you also have to be, you have to go with the consequences if that happens, right? So why don't we create a better environment to begin with so that when these things happen, there's always somebody, you, me, anybody who's watching this video, there at least could be somebody who says, "I'm sorry, this sounds a little outlandish and inappropriate. I think you need to log off." That's all
Yeah.
I'm saying is that self-awareness needs to be had.
Yeah, because like what you said is that why are why is nobody else sticking up for this? And this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Somebody
Right.
has to stand up to the bullies because, like you said, nobody's seen this and thought to say anything to even try to address her in a nice way. Like, that's kind of inappropriate. Like nobody says anything. And this is why these bullies just keep doing it and doing it because nobody stands up to them. They can write stuff like this with no consequences. But the
Mhm.
one thing that I think is smart too that you mentioned is that how you mentioned about like, people getting in fights and things like that. So a lot of XJWs are very sheltered because in Watchtower, there's no fights. Like you go to the elders handle everything. So
Right.
they don't understand things. So say like some of the women that say like, that have attacked you and attacked me, like certain individuals who have husbands. And I'm just giving a scenario. So let's just say that by chance I bumped into one of these women with their husband.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm not going to dress her. I'm going to dress her husband. And that could turn
Mhm.
into a confrontation. So, like, her husband could get into a fist fight with somebody because she's running her mouth. Like there's
And that
consequence.
happens
Yeah.
every day. It happens every day where somebody gets hurt because of somebody else's spouse running their mouth, and vice versa. It doesn't, whether you're married or not. When you run your mouth like this, and it's on the internet, so they feel safe. But when it happens in real life, it's very different. The reality is very different. So that's what we're trying to do, is to bring back that reality, like come back down to earth. Because I bet you anything, they wouldn't be saying that if they were right in front of our faces. So stop playing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know what? It's sad. It's very sad. You see what I'm saying? It's like I wouldn't fight fire with this either, because it's very sad to me that somebody feels the need to put you in that type of a light. They did the exact same thing with me, calling me fake, calling me this, calling me that. It's like what was the purpose of that? Because you were angry about something that I said or did. It's very sad that people feel the need to attack, to verbally attack somebody else because of something that they disagreed with. So how about we all remember that we are all adults and we can use our language to speak to one another, and we can do so very nicely. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I'm talking to one of my kids. You know what I'm saying? And it's that is also sad that in this community sometimes people need to be put back into their place as if they are acting like a toddler. It's like, stop it. We are all adults here, so we are not going to beat around the bush. We're not going to treat you like children. We are going to say it and do it the way it is. Like, this is the real world out here. So let's act like it. Just because you're on the internet doesn't give you it may feel like a certain type of security. You feel safe saying that type of stuff. But when you get called out for it, don't get upset. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the moment for reflection and to finally admit that when these things happen, it's not okay. And when you get a response, let's navigate that together. Like I said that in my comment to you, I said at the end of the day, we are all human. You're a human, I'm a human. We have emotions. Of course, we're going to get offended and upset. It's how you react to it. And that's how I want to react better to things. 5 years ago, you would have gotten a completely different response. You would have gotten a completely different Ruby. And that's the ugly one. Like the inner me, like that ugliness that can come out. I don't want to bring that ugliness up. I want to bring the healed version of myself. Like the better version of myself. So why can't we demand the better versions of ourselves in this community? You know, that's me.
Yeah. And it goes back to the root problem, going back to comply or be silenced, is because all that nasty stuff, I can trace it all the way back to where it started, and all because I did something on my own channel that I'm allowed to do that other people didn't like. And that's no excuse for that type of slander and attack because that's what it comes down to. I'm allowed to do whatever I want on my channel.
Mhm.
And going back to again, going to Jehovah's Witnesses, is that was the mentality is you silence people as soon as they step outside of the box. They must be silenced. They must be marked as bad
Right.
association or disfellowship or restricted from giving comments. So it's like it's almost like they want to disfellowship people in the EXJW community, and they can't disfellowship us, so they do it by character assassination. But if I complied to all those people, none of that drama would have happened. It never would have happened. And one more thing I want to mention too, just about this type of slander, and I just want to say this is a way for people who are hearing gossip to discern if it's baseless or not. So
Right.
now I'm not saying I support Trump, so I just want to make that clear. Trump is doing some questionable things. I can't say I trust him 100%. So I'm not saying this to get political, but if you go back to 2014, when he first decided he was running for president, they slandered him with everything they could think of. So first it was like he's a racist. But one thing I understand is that like I don't really hear that racist stuff that much anymore, like I used to. Well, why is that? Because it didn't work. So they just jumped to something else. Okay, this is not working. Okay, he's a rapist. That's not working. He's a convicted felon. That's not. So it's like when a person is going through a smear campaign, what they do is they throw everything at the person, every nasty thing. But when you take a step back and you look at it, you'll notice if it's a smear campaign, it is inconsistent. So what I mean by that is say like the stuff that was said about me. So it was I'm an alcoholic, I'm homeless, I am threatening towards women, I'm a sexual predator. I think I heard them say that. So even people that are really bad people, they usually are not going to have that many bad traits. Usually they'll be really bad at one thing. So they're trying to tell you, if you listen to this gossip, that I'm a homeless alcoholic, that's sexual predator and threatening towards women. Okay. But does that match? So when you look at my YouTube channel, and I'm not saying this to brag, I'm just saying this to combat that type of slander, to see the truth is that like if I'm breaking things down on a level that no one else is breaking things down on, I've had people single-handedly tell me it was my channel that woke them up. I'm seeing things, I'm breaking things down. Some people said that the way that I break things down is genius level. I'm not saying I'm a genius, but some have said that it's like a genius because what a genius does is able to see things that nobody else can see and figure things out. So if I was literally an alcoholic, somebody that's drunk all the time and drinking and I have no place to live, it's inconsistent. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's laughable. It's laughable. It's like so ridiculous that it's a joke. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And even if it were true, let's say you put the best front on YouTube and God forbid everything about that is true, then everybody who was defending you out there, or it would be up to those people to disavow and say, you know what, you were right, he really was everything that you said that he was, and I disavow all my previous, that I was ever in support of him. You know what I'm saying? Like if it were true, okay, I would say, you know what, I don't want to work with this person anymore, take all my videos down. I don't want, I want to end this collaboration with you. But when those accusations came up and you provided the receipts, just like Trump, he defended himself many, 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 many times, and people got to see through the BS, and they still voted for him. And even with him, God forbid everything they said about him is true, then the people who came out in defense of that person should be the very first ones saying, you know what, I should have never voted for him, I should have done more research, I should have done this, I should. You admit when you're wrong. So that's why when all of this fluff comes up and it's just noise, and you know yourself, you know the truth, you know the truth, you don't pay no mind to that. You don't let that get you down. You don't let that ruin your mental health, because it can very easily ruin your mental health. And you start looking at yourself in the mirror like, damn, am I really like this? Like the way they were talking about me. Oh, she's this, she's that, she's fake. I'm like, am I really? Am I? Like, let me reflect. Am I the things that they say that I am? No, I'm not. I know myself. The people, my family knows me. My support system knows me. And I would consult like with my cousin. I'm like, damn, Tony, like, do you remember that? Like, were you there? And I almost second guessed myself. Like, that's how ruinous it can be to your mental health. And thank God I had my cousin there who was with me in those instances where all this blew up. And she was like, "No, I remember. I was there. We are correct. Like, you're don't let yourself be gaslit. I was there. I have a second witness to this. You had your screenshots. You may have somebody who can vouch for you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why this type of energy is very negative. I will call it demonic because it can ruin you in the mind if you actually listen to the BS that they're actually saying about you. So you got to protect yourself mentally. I have to protect myself mentally. And that's why we're doing this video, is because I don't want to be giving my opinion about a specific individual or a comment. I want to bring out the nastiness behind the person, behind the words, and how to protect yourself in this community. Because this isn't going to be the first or the last time that this happens to us or to you. You may be watching this and saying, yo, I can't believe it. I'm going through the same thing. Years from now, months from now, you might be coming across this and like, wow, they were going through it and I didn't even notice. I even had people who were against me like everybody else was. And then weeks or months later would message me and say, you know what, Ruby, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I went along with the crowd. I didn't ask you questions. I didn't come to you personally, and I didn't hear you out. And I'm sorry for that. That's a hard apology to swallow because I lost respect for that person. That person was slandering against me with the other people that were slandering with me too, about me too. So it's very hard to even accept an apology when that comes. And I was able to accept that apology with grace and say, you know what, you're right. You didn't ask me questions. You didn't come to me. You were under the impression of false information. You did those videos. You said what you said. You can't take that back, but you can apologize for it. And that's it. That's that. That doesn't mean we're best friends. That doesn't mean you're gonna text me or I'm gonna call you. No. Thank you for your apology, but have a good night. And that's what I'm talking about, is we have to bring that and have more conversations about that in this form so that people can see, and that that we're being transparent, that we've actually went through this as human beings. You say nasty stuff in the comment section, we read it, and it is offensive. Like no BS. It is offensive. You did mean what you said. You did call me those names, and it was offensive. I will not expect an apology, but you will get called out for it in this community. At least in our part of the EXJW internet, I will no longer be silent when I see stupid stuff like this. I'm just not going to do that anymore. So this is the whole point why we're doing what we do. This is why I don't disappear from the community. I don't just leave. I don't just shut up. That's what they want us to do. They want us to shut up and leave, take your opinions and your belief and your Christianity with you, because we're done with that. And I understand that about this community. They're done with, God or Christianity or politics or whatever the case may be. They want to move on. That's great. Nobody's forcing you to agree with me, but you're not going to shut me down just because you disagree with me. And we're going to navigate this together.
Yeah, and that's a good point too, because we were talking before we started recording, is that there's some political stuff that I disagree with you on, but it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
That, and to me personally, this is more of a personal opinion, but I kind of appreciate those friendships more where you don't see everything eye to eye, because that's where you kind of learn a little bit of like a
Right.
new territory. So it's not, you don't have to agree with everything that somebody says. You can still respect them, you can still like them. It doesn't matter if you agree or don't, or if, it doesn't matter if you agree or disagree. And one thing
Right.
I think it's very important getting to the root of the problem. So I'm going to say this mostly for people to protect themselves from getting caught up in
Mhm.
slander. Is that
Right.
so? I don't believe in the Bible personally, but I do think there's some good Bible like stuff in the Bible. But there's one scripture that I will quote because I think it's very powerful, even though I personally, I'm not for the Bible. And
Mm-hmm.
it's in Proverbs, and I'm going to quote it from the fake JW Bible because I don't know how it's quoted in the real Bible. But anyway, so it's something
Okay.
like the first to state his case seems right, until the other cross-examines.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like a courtroom. This is what I want people to think about, just like a courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
The first person that speaks, say the plaintiff,
Mm-hmm.
is always going to seem right. They're
Mm-hmm.
going to say everything. They're going to say this, and this happened. And it sounds so right. They may even have some receipts and it sounds believable.
Mm-hmm.
But then the judge says, okay, and that's the defendant. The judge doesn't even have an opinion. It doesn't matter how
Right.
good it sounded because
Mm-hmm.
everything has to be cross-examined. And even
Right.
evidence has to be cross-examined. So
Exactly.
let me just give you like an example. So um I used to party hard when I was in my 20s because I wasn't a JW in my 20s. So
Mm-hmm.
let's just say, for example, these people trying to destroy me say they had a picture of me drunk. They say, "You see, I told
Right.
you he's an alcoholic. Look, here's a video of him
Right.
at a party. Oh, they got the
Mm-hmm.
receipts, right? Look, they got the evidence.
Right.
You still have to cross-examine it because I could say, yeah, I was drunk. That was 15 years ago. Like what, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it doesn't
Exactly.
even matter if it sounds believable. Everybody deserves the respect to be cross-examined. And I
Right.
think that that's the key of a real friendship. If you really value somebody's friendship, you will always confront them on what you're hearing about them. Never just
Mm-hmm.
cut somebody out because, oh, I heard this. And again, even if you think you're being presented with some sort of evidence, well, you still want to confront them and say, well, hey, what the hell is
Right.
this? And maybe it is true, or it's maybe there's parts that you're not seeing because again, like anything can be twisted. So like
Exactly.
you always have to hear both sides of the story. And I know that you've been through the same things. We talked about it. Is that
Mm-hmm.
like I've had people who even had interviews set up, and then they just blow me off. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why? Like they admired my channel, they want to work with me, then never hear from them again. So I'm assuming, and again, I'm only saying assuming because I don't know, but
Right.
are they feeding into stuff that they're hearing? Well, if they are, confront me about it. Come talk to me because maybe it's flat out lies, like say that thing about me being drunk and all that. Like, or if there's some truth to it, it could be the fact of, but there's missing parts of the story. Like you have to you. So I'm just saying that you never want to write somebody off or cut them off without giving them the respect to come to you. And going back to the issue we talked about the friends in our original video, is that that's why you have to be careful who you call friends because I've had a lot of
Right.
XJWs that will say you're my friend and all this and support, and then some of them they will just for whatever reason hear something and then just write you off. Well, a real
Right.
friend is not going to do that. A real friend is, and let me just give you this. I'm going to ask you this question. Um, let's say that like because you and your cousin are very close. Let's say that somebody
Mm-hmm.
said all this stuff about King Tony, right? And let's say they supposedly
Yep.
had receipts, they had a text message or whatever it is they claim that they have. Would you
Mm-hmm.
just write her off? Like, how would you handle
No.
that situation? What would you do?
I would call her immediately and I would send those screenshots and be like, "What happened here? Let's have a conversation and let me know if this is even real because those things can be AI, they could be fake, they could put your name in your picture as if you said something and you never said it." I would immediately call her. And this actually happened in real life anyways. They were doing that with her about me. And she would call me and be like, "This is crazy," as if I would talk bad about my own cousin with them. And like a betrayal. Like that would be a betrayal when you start gossiping and going along with the rumors about somebody who you're close with instead of going straight to the person and be like, hey, something's up and I don't know what's going on, but I need to hear it from you. that's what the right thing is to do. You go straight to that person. And I mean, I will do it in 2.3 seconds because I don't play those games. I really don't. And when it was happening to you, I could see right through the BS and I didn't even feel the need to come to you directly. Other people were coming to me and being like, oh my God, did you see? I'm like, if you have such an issue with it, email him, text him, find some sort of communication and speak with him. I don't feel the need to do that because I felt like I could discern that already through the screen. I could tell, and that's just me, that this was all BS. So why would I waste my time calling him or, whatever? I don't feel the need to do that. But if I was so conflicted with the accusation, I would immediately call you and be like, yo, what is going on? Like I said, this community is so small that we really do know each other without like really knowing each other, but we know of each other. So when things go on, it spreads like fire. And that's why somebody has to put out the fire. That's what I'm saying, that this is the purpose of that. Is because these things will continue to happen. And if you are a viewer that is so concerned about new XJWs or JWs, well, then you should be running this marathon with us so that they could walk. We need to run so they could walk because they're going to continue to go through the same journey that we went through and they're going to hit the same roadblock. And once again, there's going to be nobody around to say or do anything. They're just going to say, oh, there's so many, a lot of trauma and just be understood. Sure, you can do that. That doesn't mean you accept it. It is disrespectful. It is offensive. That doesn't make it right. Just because you went through trauma, just because your family shuns you, just because you lost everything, doesn't give you the right to treat and to talk to people the way that we see. Because we lost everything as well. We lost family. We are being shunned as well. Does that give us the excuse to be shitty people? It does not. And that's why we're bringing attention to this type of energy. And we're not giving people excuses. I wouldn't even give myself the excuse to be like that towards somebody else. Why is it so negative? Why is it so hurtful? And why do they feel the need to spread that energy? Why are we sharing that type of negativity if it's not productive? And we don't need any more negativity. We already been through hell. So why are you bringing the hell here? That's what we're talking about. And I realize that I used to be lacking in that as well. I was never curious enough to understand why people were going through what they were going through. I would just ignore it and just keep moving on. But that silence, my own silence, is almost allowing that to happen. Like allowing the negativity to continue because I'm silent about it. It's the same thing with politics. It's like, how can you complain if you don't vote, if you don't get involved? Your silence, you're being complicit with your silence. And that's where what I'm trying to show here is that we're no longer going to be silent about that. These taboo subjects that the community wants to like tiptoe and act like, oh, we're just friends, like, oh, just get along. No, because that also that implication of like, oh, we just need to get along type of kumbaya. No, I don't need to get along with somebody to help them understand that you don't have the right to disrespect me just because I'm conservative or I'm a Trump supporter or I'm this or I'm that. You know what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense because what we see in the community is that everybody in the left wing, politically speaking, the left wing of the XW community doesn't get the same fire or the same backlash or the same type of bullying or comments that you see with other XJWs leaning to the right. You lean more on the conspiracy side. They consider that right wing. I'm totally far right compared to them. And what do we see on our types of videos? A lot of negativity. Do you see any other XJWs going to the left wing XJW of the internet and leaving comments like, oh, well, you're delusional. You sound so crazy that you like the same sex, or you dye your hair, crazy colors. Wow, you look so crazy and so delusional. That's so outdated and like so old fashioned. Oh, it's so disgusting. You're so modern. No, you don't see what they tell me. I'm old fashioned. I'm 1950s. I'm so traditional. It's so outdated. Oh my God. Like, you're just so crazy. You do not see that when it comes to left wing XJWs. Everything is so inclusive. They love the diversity. They love the different backgrounds. Oh, you're gay? That's fine with us. Oh, you vote Democrat? Perfect. But as soon as Ruby Tavares, Trump supporter, who denounced Black Lives Matter, who denounced a lot of political things, oh, you got to be careful with Ruby. You got to be super careful. She's dangerous. She's this, she's that. She has cult-like political
Well,
views.
let me ask you this. Do you find that there's more left wing XJWs and right wing, or do you think it's balanced?
Absolutely. It is at least publicly. There may be conservatives that are quiet, which is why I'm so outspoken, is because I want those that silent conservative XJW to find a safe space within my channel.
Well,
Because
I was just gonna say
uh-huh.
that the reason I'm asking that is because this goes into my research on the brainwashing and the way that
Mhm.
the deep brainwashing of Jehovah's Witnesses. So I know for a fact that the Jehovah's Witness religion, it's left wing, and they subliminally
Completely.
put those left wing ideas in their literature, like deliberately. So I'll give you an example. So I was almost going to do a video about this, but I never did. So,
You should, because it's like even their literature, JW literature is
well,
straight
it
up
is.
communism. Like
So,
like it's straight up socialism.
so I'll give you an example of the way they do it. So in the 2000, I think it's 2022 convention drama. And the
Hmm.
convention drama, if I'm not mistaken, is 2022. I'm sorry, it was 2000. It's 2021. So the
Okay.
convention drama 2021, it was broadcast on the internet, and they had this. It was like a documentary of like a current documentary about the witnesses and end times and things like that. So it was a little bit. It was more like a documentary style drama.
Hmm.
So they were making the point about how like all these human leaders want peace, but they can't obtain peace. Like kind of making the point of like we're never going to see peace until God's kingdom. That was where they were getting at.
Right.
So they show every president starting from Kennedy talking about something about peace or wanting to make a difference. Every president, right? And this was
Hmm.
in 2021. So Biden was president at this point. So
Hmm.
they show every president, every single one of those people, right when they got to where it should have been Trump, then they cut it and they started showing explosions.
No.
So
We want to lay the foundation of peace for generations to come. We want to do the hard work now so our children and our grandchildren can grow up in a peaceful world.
The future we want. Opportunity and security for our families, a rising standard of living, a sustainable, peaceful planet for our kids. All that is within our reach.
Yet, despite humans' best efforts, peace has been elusive.
So I catch that because that's my expertise is the subliminal side. So
Exactly.
what they're sending the message is they want the JWs to think like these other presidents, even the most corrupt ones, right? Obama, the Clintons, all of them,
Uh-huh.
that
Hmm.
oh, they're just human leaders. They're trying to bring about peace, but they just can't do without God's kingdom. But
Hmm.
subliminally, when they didn't show Trump when they should have, because he was the next president in line, and he talked about peace and things like that.
And ending wars. I
Yeah,
mean,
well, he
that's exactly
did.
what he
He
was
actually
running
did.
on.
So them cutting Trump out of that sequence deliberately,
Yep.
again, it goes into the mind of the JW. They don't associate Trump with these other leaders that are trying to bring peace.
Absolutely.
So that's just an example of it. Another example is that many times the Watchtower quoted Obama and they even quoted Biden. They would say in like some of their Awake magazines, you know, and Barack Obama said this. They would quote him, but they wouldn't never ever quote Trump. But then they would quote Biden. So they would quote Obama, skip Trump, quoted Biden. Again, subliminally, because if they're neutral and they're just talking about, hey, the president of the US said this, why are they deliberately skipping him? These are all subliminal things that they do to be more like left-wing type of people.
Exactly.
And a big thing about it too is that, so the thing with, say, a lot of red states versus blue states, and I'm just giving you the facts. So what some don't understand about, like, you know, they'll claim that, like, oh, the rich don't want to share the rich, and they want to keep the rich rich and the poor poor. That's not exactly what it is. So in a typical blue state, they have a lot more, it's easier to get a lot more free money. And they keep raising the minimum wage to ridiculous amounts.
Exactly.
So red states have a low minimum wage and you can't get money as easy. It's not because they're trying to keep the rich rich and the poor poor. The difference in the politics is that there's a certain, like, for example, when you're in a red state, it's more like, hey, if you want a nice house, if you want this, you have to get off your ass and do it.
Of course.
If you don't, that's okay, but you're only going to get paid $7 an hour. That's okay. So there's more incentive to work hard if you want to become rich or become wealthy. And blue states, it's more, and I'm not saying this is how everybody operates, but this is the general theme of the red versus blue. Blue states is more about like too many handouts, like just give out free stuff. Make it so
Because that's
even.
socialism. That's why they function with ideology of communism and socialism, whereas the right wing is more fiscally conservative, pull yourself by your bootstraps and work for what you have. And it's more about freedom and, you know, pro 2A, more about those types of things, and capitalism. So when you talk about capitalism, it's whoever works the hardest. That's who gets the bacon at the end of the day. But they don't function like that, and they preach the type of laziness of just get on welfare, just do this, just do that, when that's supposed to be for actual poor people that are actually below the poverty line, that have children they have to feed. You understand? Like they abuse that system. And once again, the cycle goes over and over and over again. And I would agree with you on the whole JW point, is that they also conditioned us to believe that we should just sit around and wait for God to do everything. No, it's not just about waiting for God. You need to be that change you want to see. You need to be the good Samaritan. You need to use the local churches and feed people and donate. Like that's what that was supposed to be for.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
so, like,
but we don't have a nation anymore that believes in those things. They believe like, I'm entitled to it, so just give it to me. Instead of being that giving, we're supposed to be giving more than receiving. So
yes,
that's
Watchtower
the
has that
struggle.
more, they have that more, you could say, blue state Democratic like feel of kind of like, don't worry, like you don't have to make a lot of money, don't worry, you'll just get help. The friends will help you, the friends will help you. And then like a big kicker to me is that they sell you the whole idea of like, oh, in a new system, you can have a house because you can build and nobody, you know, oh wow, in a new system we can own our own house. Well, you don't have to wait for God to destroy the planet to get a house.
Exactly.
You can do that now. But it's that lazy mindset. So like
exactly.
you can, no matter how bad your credit is, you can always fix your credit. There's always programs for first-time home buyers. So you can do it now. But but again, it goes back, and so what I'm getting at is that in the JW literature, there's a lot of like Democratic leaning type of stuff.
Of course.
And I think
Absolutely.
that's what it is. So that a lot of XJWs, they have that Democratic already ideology because they were brainwashed with it, especially the JWs that maybe were raised in it. So there's going to be
Right.
some that are more conservative, but those are just more so the free thinkers, the ones that they go outside of the box and can be a free thinker. Because once you become a free thinker, you start to,
Dangerous. Yep.
yeah, but then like you start to get outside that box because you're not just believing something because you were brainwashed or it was traditional. Like you're starting to see, well, wait a minute, why is it like this? Like say, for example, um, going back to say how hard Trump got attacked. And again, I'm not saying I support Trump, but just going back to when he first ran. Well, if you think about it, okay, well, it wasn't until he ran for president, right? If he was such a criminal,
Right.
why
That they
wasn't he
started having
arrested?
an
Yeah.
issue.
Why didn't they
Before
arrest him
that,
in the
they all
90s?
loved him.
Yeah.
Before he ran, they all loved him.
Well,
Before I was an XJW, everybody loved me too. Before I was political, they loved me. Before I was on YouTube, they loved me. As soon as I started sharing my inner thoughts, my political beliefs, my spiritual beliefs, all of a sudden the hate started coming. So back to your question about do we think that XJWs are more leaning left or right? I would say majority is left leaning XJWs because they are coming out of that indoctrination and they find themselves within the left wing because everything is acceptable. That's what they want. They're seeking acceptance. I was there too until I realized, well, I do want to be accepted, but I want to be accepted for my true political beliefs. And when I thought that that was going to happen, I got burned very fast. It was not acceptable to have conservative views or Republican views because I wasn't even that bad 5 years ago. Politically speaking, like the things I say now are way crazier than what I was saying 5 years ago. So I wasn't accepted then. It was not considered acceptable to have these feelings or thoughts or beliefs, let alone talk about it publicly. If I would have kept it to myself, I would have kept the whole network. I would have kept the whole community. I would have kept all those collaborations. But I didn't care about that. I wanted to be accepted for who I really am. And if I'm not, then I created my own channel. I created my own lane. And whoever wants to be on my lane with me is more than welcome to do so. But I'm not going to stay quiet about the enormous elephant in this community that I was also kicked out, even from the XJW network, because of my political views. I lost network, I lost connection. I wouldn't say friendship, but acquaintances. Like I lost a lot of people that I thought I can stay connected with and just agree to disagree. No problem. But that didn't happen. So unfortunately, there are people who are once again shunned from the XW community. like if you really want to compare the logic, that's what it is. And it happened to me. And that's why I'm not quiet. That's why I'm outspoken. That's why I'm as strong as I am because I had to become this way if I wanted to share my views. And that's my passion. And I'm not going to give up on myself and who I really am. But I'm also not going to accept the negative energy that comes with that because you don't have to. Just because you're a YouTuber, just because you put yourself on the internet doesn't mean that you have to accept the negative thing that comes with it. It can come. I don't accept it. I leave it there. I don't block people. I leave it there so people can see what I talk about. That like in your last video, there was a commenter that said that everything in that video proved what I said in our initial interview. It proved exactly what I was saying. And this is why I leave it there so that people can see without me even having to lift a finger or say anything. You can see the sarcasm, the mockery, the laugh of like, oh, well, you're stupid and ignorant and young. You don't know anything. Oh, you were indoctrinated into another political cult. You left one cult for another. Just because I'm Republican? Just because I support a political ideology or a party? Do you say the exact same thing to a Democratic EXJW? Do you say the same thing when they were doing the Black Lives Matter protests, that they left one cult for another? Do you say that to other EXJWs who are wrapped up in political movements in the left wing? They do not. As soon as I came out, I did the March for Life. I did conservative movements. I talked about Trump. What did I get in return? Absolute negativity from a community that prides themselves on inclusiveness. We accept everybody. You're not alone. XJW friends. That did not exist for me, which is why I am against those phrases, which is why I warn about this, because it did not exist for me. It existed very temporarily until I came out with who I really am.
Yeah, and just to segue into that, that a real friend you can have different opinions with, and that's the bottom line. You can have disagreements with, you can even have sometimes arguments with. You don't
Right.
write somebody off because they don't think like you. That's what Watchtower does. That's why I think it goes back to the Watchtower training. You're written off as soon as you go outside of the bounds of Watchtower thinking. You're written off.
Exactly.
But one thing I want to say too that I just kind of forgot when you were talking about like the negative comment that was left for you is that when that person replied, one of the things they said was, "Well, Quinn, I now I know what I've been hearing about you." And I'm glad she said that because like she said, she wanted me to email her originally. So that's somebody who I thought was one of these like kind of like fake friend type of people. But there's a time where I thought, oh, she's a friend, you know, like I thought that. So when she says, "Well, Quinn, now I know what I've been hearing about you," or something like that, well, thank you, because you just confirmed you're a snake. Because if you've been hearing
Exactly.
stuff about me and we were supposedly friends and you thought I would have sent you a personal email, shouldn't you have told me, hey, these snaky people are saying this about you so I can defend it? So for her to
Right.
say that she knew that, it just confirms like this is why I'm glad that I didn't consider her a real actual friend, because a real actual friend would tell me if she's hearing a bunch of snaky stuff about me. So like, and that's the thing is that and I want to make this point too. So some people in the comments, I think they're a little bit confused on my message in the last video and our message in the first video is that I'm not saying you cannot make good friends in the XJW community. You
Right.
can. The problem that I'm
Yeah.
bringing out is the brainwashing. So when we're in Jehovah's Witnesses, we were told they're Jehovah's Witnesses, they're your friends. So when we come out, we want that
Right.
naturally. Oh, you're XJW. Oh, and then you initially get along with people, and then some people will use that term so closely,
Right.
friends. And then like the thing is, those are not real friends, because here's the thing: a real friend isn't going to write you off because you got different political views. That's just the bottom line. That's not a real friend.
Right.
And if you think that's a real friend,
Right.
that's still Watchtower programming of not knowing what a real friend actually is.
Exactly.
But I was going to say, let's start to wrap it up, because I want to know, like, what are some of the things that you think we need to do to weed out this toxicity and also be on guard for it? Because as you and I both know, there's people that are just going to keep doing it anyway, and we don't want to give them energy. But
Right.
what would you say? Well, let me ask the first question. The first question I would say is, what do you think that we need to do to be on guard of this type of energy? And this is, I think me and you are kind of already aware of that, but what would you say the advice is on how we can just be on guard from not getting sucked in to that toxic negativity, where when one person attacks you, they all feel like, oh, they're just jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, exactly that. Do not engage. Like completely ignore it, because once you start engaging, you're going to be fighting with a wall, because they're not, if they are not open-minded enough to talk to you about it, or have a phone call, if you're comfortable sharing your number, or use an app or something to communicate, or DM, like a private messaging. If they're not willing to discuss with you straight up personally, and they're just going to be keyboard warriors in the chat section, then just completely ignore it. Because you need, like I said earlier, you and I have to protect our mental health, our emotional health, our spiritual health, like everything. because that can affect you without you even realizing it. Like subconsciously, it will bother you. You will wake up the wrong way. Like, because that's exactly what I was going through. I was like, why am I feeling like this? Because even though I was verbalizing, like, oh, I don't care, that doesn't bother me, I'm not offended. I may think that I'm not, but deep down inside, my body is telling me, yes, I am offended. I'm sorry. Hold on. I am offended and I am going to respond. You know, you have those moments where you're like, oh, I remembered something that I should have said earlier. And it's like, no, because you're going to be arguing with people you've never met before. Stop wasting your time. That for me is that guard. And I have that guard 100% of the time. And that's just because I vowed to myself a very long time ago that I was never going to let this type of energy ever attack me again, because that's exactly what my whole JW family did to me. They attacked me with this type of energy because I was different, because I was that free thinker, because I pushed the barriers. I did something totally illegal in the JW world by asking those questions, and with my actions finally got me kicked out. But these were my family. If my own family can do that to me and I learned my lesson, why would I ever let somebody anonymously on the internet try to ruin my energy in that way? Because it's the same type of energy. You don't fit in. You're not saying the right things. You don't believe in the right things. Oh, you believe in God? Oh, you're a Christian? How stupid are you? Oh, you believe in politics? How ignorant can you be? That's the same type of energy that the JWs gave us when they kicked us out. Oh, you think you could be free without us? Oh, you don't believe in the governing body? How ignorant of you. How stupid of you to think that you don't need Jehovah in your life. They're playing the same game, but they're using the same energy. That's what it is. And I vowed myself 10 years ago that I would never let myself go through that again. So it's really a vow to yourself. You need to vow to yourself that you will protect yourself. Nobody out here is gonna protect you the way you would. And there will be very few people that will come out in defense of you, what Quinn for me. And that's why I was so appreciative of that video. Like even though you you went full blown, I was laughing, like it was great. And you really did give your opinion and you gave it all. But in reality, really nobody would come to my defense. Nobody would respond. Nobody would comment. Nobody would do a 30, 40, 45-minute video defending me like the way that you did. So it's like, I would never even, I mean, thank you. Thank you for doing that, right? But am I going to rely on somebody like Quinn to make a defense video on me? Am I going to rely on other people to defend me? No, I have to defend myself. I have to protect myself. And that for me just means to ignore the negativity. On the other hand, Quinn felt it necessary to talk about this, to do a video about it. And he consulted me. He gave me the courtesy to consult me and be like, do you agree or disagree with this? I appreciate that. And I was like, go right ahead, do it. It's your channel, do what you want to do. That doesn't mean I agreed with the way he did it or what he said, but I was still appreciative because nobody in this community would have defended me the way that he did. So of course, I'm going to be thankful and appreciative. But that's why I wanted this follow-up, is because I don't want that to look like he came out of character or that he's attacking this specific person because he took one comment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want it to be a stain on you because you only took one person. When in reality, it's not just about that one comment. It's not just that one person. You're not attacking a specific person. You are talking about the general problem in this community. And it does exist, like it does in every community. Like, we need to get rid of that. And we need to be open to talk about it, you know?
Yeah, and the thing is, people that do want to hate, they're always going to try to pick apart or pretend they don't see certain things. So I did explain in the very beginning of the video, I said that It's about the psychology. I made it very clear, and I said I'm going to use this as an example because you can't always catch it that easy. So it was a perfect
Exactly.
example to use it. And just for the record, that person is completely anonymous. It's a fake name, it's a fake picture.
Right.
Her reputation in no way is affected by anything. So it was an opportunity where I could expose it while at the same time nobody else is getting their reputation messed up. I mean, your reputation is attacked by the comment itself because you're public. That
Right.
person is completely anonymous. But it's important that like we see that these things like somebody has to stand up to it, otherwise it will keep going on. And I want to just give this example so people understand like why I said something. So if you think about say CSA and the organization, what they want is they want people to ignore it and they say, well, you know, leave it in Jehovah's hands because if you speak up, it's going to make the congregation look
Right.
bad. And we don't want to bring this negativity to the congregation because publicly, you know, what is the town going to think if they hear, oh, sexual assault and Jehovah's Witness? So that is the training is basically don't say anything. And sometimes when a person has spoken up anyway, they get attacked by the congregation because, oh, you're bringing reproach on Jehovah's name. You know, look at all this, like, and it's the same mindset because here's the thing. Don't get upset with me by the way I exposed that. Get upset with the person that did it because that's the problem. What certain XJWs don't realize is that they want to attack me for exposing it. Okay, will it look bad if new Jehovah's Witnesses come across that? It might, but that doesn't mean that I'm the problem. The problem is the person made the comment to begin with. And another thing is that
Exactly.
when Jehovah's Witnesses wake up, they're going to face a lot more scary situations than a video on my channel, right? So trust me, the Jehovah's Witness can handle that. It's not like they're going to crawl
Yeah.
back in their shell and go back into the religion. Once you see the truth of the Jehovah's Witness religion start to wake up, they're not going to run away because of my video. Even if they don't
Right.
like it and they feel it's negative, they'll just go to another channel. Because when I first started to wake up, I came across channels that I didn't like the vibe and I just didn't watch it. I didn't go back to Watchtower because, oh, look what they said. So I'm not saying this to sound rude, but it's like we can't act like babies or treat Jehovah's Witnesses like babies.
Right.
If they come across that video, then you know what? They're going to face a lot more tougher things as they start to wake up. But the bottom line is that it's just like the CSA stuff has to be exposed and now
Right.
being called out. It's the same thing with the cyberbullying in this community. If nobody stands up to this type of slander, they're going to keep doing it. And other people are going to be attacked. And when I showed
Right.
the comment that I showed of when that woman was saying like I'm a drunk alcoholic and all that crap, and then like she thinks I'm going to send her my driver's license. Really, you think I'm going to take my driver's license and send it to
Hell
you?
no.
So,
Mm-mm.
but I wanted to show that because it goes back along with the last video that like it's not about a person. It's about the
Right.
psychology.
Right.
It's the same thing. That person said nothing about me. I was just defending Ruby, but exposing the psychology. And again, that comment I showed you is the same thing. And like I said, it's
Right.
written. They write it in snaky language so that it doesn't come across that bad until you really think about, well, what are they saying? I like to drink a lot. Well, what is it? She's trying to say I'm an uncontrolled alcoholic is what she's trying to say. So it's not okay. And another thing too about like people that commit suicide because of online bullying is that it's not just suicide. There's people that may cut themselves. They may develop an
Right.
eating
Or hurt
disorder.
themselves. Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of psychology that can go wrong when a person is being slandered online. You know, so it's
Right.
not okay. So it's like people who don't like my approach to it, it's like you got to start holding accountability to the people doing it. It's not okay. It's not okay at all to attack anybody and slander them online.
Right. And you know, just to piggyback on that, I also feel like it can also be that group herding mentality that they all subscribe to a big XJW YouTuber, right? And they take all of his or her opinions like as if it was their own. And then they have disagreements with other YouTubers and they make videos back to one another like a response video. And then they start picking sides. Oh, I'm team this, I'm team that. That's another thing. You need to avoid that. Just because your favorite XJW YouTuber is having a spat with somebody or a commentator or whatever, that doesn't mean that you have to come out in defense of them either. You can have an opinion, but that doesn't mean you got to pick sides. It doesn't mean that you have to listen to your favorite one and stop watching the other one or unscribe from this person because they're this. It's like stop playing the YouTube game as well. It's like stop. Have your own opinion and do what you want, not because you saw one of us speaking or talking back to another person and oh now I gotta unsubscribe from that person. Oh, I don't want to be seen on the chat section of their channel anymore. No, you don't even need to announce that you're leaving. Oh, I'm unsubscribing. You did. Stop. Move on.
Can I jump in real
That's the
quick?
message.
I just want to say, so I don't forget about the unsubscribing thing, is like,
Mhm.
so I have, I think, like 80 something videos on my page. So if I'm putting out content that's powerful, that's waking people up, that's exposing things, I'm showing you how to wake other people up by the things that I show. If I make one video out of 80 something videos that disagree with, you're going to unsubscribe because of one video. Like, it doesn't hurt me,
It's stupid.
but it's
It's
like,
stupid.
it also shows the whole disc. So like, if you ever dealt with like a narcissistic personality disorder, like they have a thing where they discard you, where as soon as they just discard you. And that's what
Right.
it's kind of like. Like, so I make one video you don't like, and then you discard my whole channel. Like, you're unsubscribing because all that other content is bad just because of one video that you disagree with. And
Right.
I think this is also why like XJWs have a problem understanding real friendship, because you will never have a real friendship if that's how you treat them. Like, a person could be doing everything good, and the one time they do something you don't like, or
Exactly.
even if they mess up, even if they do something that maybe they shouldn't have done. So
Right.
like I said, that video that I did, response video, I shouldn't have taken people's Facebook pictures. I didn't have to do that. I could have still did the video. So like, okay, yeah, I was pissed off. Like, put it this way, try being slandered on that level when you know you've never had any issues with women like that, and people are spreading a vicious rumor that will try to destroy you.
Exactly.
And you expect
Exactly.
me to handle it perfectly, like I'm going to say everything
No.
perfectly. No, you're right.
No.
I was pissed off and I addressed it immediately. And yes, so I was going to call out all these people by name, because you know what? They're slandering me and running my name through the mud. But don't use my name. So I purposely did that. But the thing is, now
Mhm.
looking back, I could have handled that situation a lot different. But the thing is that people will disappoint you in life. Nobody's perfect. So
Exactly.
a real friend, you don't ever write somebody off because of one thing they say or do or disagree with you. And the same thing goes with YouTube channels. If you like the content somebody's putting out, you would unsubscribe because of one video they do that you have a problem with. But what I want to say too is that I really want to put this out there, that when we were JWs, that was the trend. You shun people, you discard people for disagreeing.
Right.
You don't have to like what people are saying. YouTube allows you to say anything you want. Like I said, if Ruby wants to say that a horse should be able to run for president, she could say that. You can make jokes, but to attack her
Uh-huh.
and slander her, no. Like, she could say whatever she wants to say.
Right.
And
Right.
and what I think is a good practice is I just don't watch the channels I don't like, because if somebody triggers you, if you really don't like somebody and you don't like what they're saying and that you're triggered by it, how is that healthy to sit there and watch somebody that triggers you? You know they trigger you.
Yeah, just leave. Just
Yeah,
leave and unsubscribe. You don't
yeah.
even need to announce it because it's like, what kind of response are
Mm,
you looking? Just go. Just
mm,
go. You don't need to explain yourself.
mm.
Honestly, you do not need to explain yourself. If you don't need to, you don't need to explain yourself. Do what's best for you. That's it. Period. Like I'm done with explaining myself. I only do certain things to like this, like to explain where I'm coming from, is because it's necessary. But if it's not necessary, you will not see me in anybody's comment section. I do not care. And the last point about if anybody else is still confused about anything that we've ever discussed, is just to remember this. The reason why I'm here is because my own family discarded me, because the Jehovah's Witnesses discarded me. They got rid of me. I didn't fit their mold. I was out of control. I was too much of a free thinker. I did too much research. I listened to apostates. I was out of their control. And if they couldn't control me, they got rid of me. I am here because after that, I entered the EXJW community. As soon as I showed them that I didn't fit in that mold either, they discarded me once again. They did what my own family did to me. These are complete strangers on the internet, and it used to hurt me back then. And then I kept moving forward. I did my own channel, and people were discarding me even on my own channel. But guess what? I finally had the authority to say, have a good night, because this is my space. This is my platform. You came here. You are welcome here. But I don't have to accept anything of what you say. Congratulations, you gave me your opinion. We agree to disagree. Have a good night. I'll see you next Tuesday. Very civil. We are adults. So if I couldn't fit into any other mold, what makes you think that I'm going to fit into your mold? What you think is right? What opinion you think I should have? Absolutely not. I'm going to come up with my own identity, with my own opinions. I became a Christian again. I didn't seek validation. I didn't ask anybody what do I have to do with my life like I used to do when I was a JW, always asking for permission. Is this a okay thought? Can I think this? Can I say this? No, I am my own person. So do not be surprised when I say things that you disagree with. It is exactly like in real life. Treat us how you would treat us in real life, because the internet is fake, okay? Real life is real. Real people are real in the street. When you have interactions with people in the street, do you think you'll be saying that comment to somebody's face? You wouldn't, unless you're really unhinged and you would say something as stupid like that to somebody in the street. Go right ahead if you want to do that. But don't be surprised when you disagree with people on the internet, just like you would in real life. Do not get surprised. That's all I'm saying. Is because all of the sudden it was such an earthquake that an XJW would become Christian again. Oh my God, you became a Christian again? What? Oh my God, you voted for Trump? An XJW voting Republican? Or even getting political to begin with? Do you know politics is all fake? It's like, get rid of that. Let people live their life on their own terms, right? Because that's what you guys in the left wing, that's what y'all preach. Oh, we have to accept everybody for who they are. We have to accept everybody and everything. So practice what you preach and let other people be who they are. Do not get surprised. And this is a topic that I will continue to speak about. I'm never going to shut up about this. I hope that more and more people continue to be open and strong enough to confront this type of negativity. It's very simple. Treat others how you want to be treated. That's it. And I hope that this video spreads that message rather than just our opinions. You know what I'm saying? Like not everybody's gonna agree with my worldview, but at least we can all agree to treat others the way we want to be treated, right? Like that's a neutral ground that at least we can agree on.
Yeah, and I want to say too for both of us that just for the audience to know that we both are passionate about the things we speak about. So don't think that we're even like upset, because one thing that me and Ruby have in common is that we don't really get bothered by this chatter and this gossip. Like for me personally, I look at it as like they help weed people out, because you can only have so many close friends. So hey, people weed themselves out by believing gossip and hey, good. I don't have to waste my time dealing with fake people. So, but we're passionate. So we're coming across strong because this is really in response to the last video, because and this was Ruby's idea. She didn't want to leave that taste in the mouth of people of just a taste of me completely calling out the person the way that I
Right.
called them out. It was true, it was needed, but
Right.
we wanted to do this, and it was Ruby's idea that she could see the importance of like making it clear what our problem is. It's not about a particular person. The
Right.
reason I did that video is because it was an opportunity to expose this dark energy that a lot of people get attacked by. And it's not okay. And I think you made a good point earlier, Ruby, where it's like when people leave these nasty comments, you'll see almost nobody comes to our defense about us.
Right.
And it's like not that you even have to get into drama, because you can say something nicely. You could say, you know what, maybe that's not really appropriate, or it's kind of, or do you have, but
Right.
nobody does it. I'm not calling people out for not doing it, but then when it gets to the point where it's like an explosion happens, like sometimes that's needed. It's like if no one else is calling it out and cyber bullies keep bullying people and trying to destroy people's reputations, saying very slanderous things, at some point, it's like the laws of the universe. It's the law of karma. At some point, they're going to have to get some pushback. And
Mhm.
if people in the comments did it, it may not be as necessary, but it's like no, like people are kind of even afraid of these bullies. I think what it is like, because I've had people personally message me and say that, that they agree and they have a problem with this and that, but some of them are afraid to say in the comments because they don't want to get attacked. And I understand that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. They will DM or privately, or they would even, like for me, in my case, they will go to Jimmy rather than coming to me, or to Tony rather than coming to me. And I'm like, well, why don't they come to me personally? Am I not approachable enough? Like that makes me reflect on myself. How can I be better? So that people can give me that criticism or a tip or something, to at least come directly to me. Why are you going to other people? That creates the rumors. That's what creates the gossip, because you're always going to hearsay instead of actually having it black and white paper or text so I could have a receipt, or you reach out to me in an email or something. I can respect that. Even if it is disrespectful, I would say, you know what? At least you came to me. At least you said it to my face. I could respect that. But when you slithering, when you start slithering, that's where it's unacceptable. And I don't respect that. And I won't even give it my energy and time to answer, to respond. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta pick your fights. You know what I'm saying? You have to pick them. And I am very I try to choose wisely, because I am not gonna argue with some username and a fake photo. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, those people I just block. Like I can easily tear apart some of those comments, but it's really not worth my time, because when you don't even show your face and you have something to say, it's like it's really not even worth my time.
Exactly.
The last video I did, that was someone who I have interacted with, even though I still don't know what they look like, so it was a little bit different. But when
Right,
random
right.
people, it's a waste of time. But
Right.
one thing I want to say too that you touched on earlier is that, and I just want to emphasize this point, is that like you said, how two channels are fighting, you don't have to pick sides. That's another thing too, because the personal drama that I got pulled into was very specific to certain people. No
Right.
reason for anybody to jump on any bandwagon, because it's like this, like you always have to let the other person cross-examine the evidence or whatever.
Mhm.
So you can't have a strong opinion without hearing that other person's view. However, there comes a situation where sometimes maybe you're not comfortable. So say you heard something about me and maybe you don't know me well enough to say, well, you know what, Quinn, you need to explain yourself. In that case, what that means is that mind your business. Like that's okay if you don't feel comfortable because you don't know me. That's a clue of like stay out of it.
Exactly.
It doesn't concern you. But people feel
Exactly.
that they have to jump on these bandwagons and take sides. And that's how
Right.
the toxicity spreads, because two people can have a beef and it can stay between them and nobody has to get involved except the people it involves.
Exactly. And when one party decides to take something private and put it out there, then the other party has the right to respond. Like you can't get upset about that when other people are having a public dispute. And that should tell you everything you need to know. Like, why would this person take a private conversation or interaction and blow it out there to make this person look bad? That should tell you everything you need to know. That's why I talked about EQ early on, because it's not just about normal intelligence. You could be a very smart person and still get duped. It's about that emotional intelligence to read through people. And if you can do that, you have a gift.
One way to move on is let others do what they want to do. So like if you come across a channel like mine and you're triggered, just keep it moving. Because why get stuck on my channel and then feel that you have to try to get other people to not watch? Like just keep it moving.
Exactly.
And move on. But if we get stuck because we're worried about what other people are doing, then we're not going to improve and we're going to stay in a negative space. And just one more quick thing that I forgot to mention earlier that I think is important is that sometimes part of the problem too is that certain XJWs have appointed themselves the XJW police, where they feel that it's their duty to feel that they have to expose this person or expose that person or show you how this person's wrong and you shouldn't listen to this person, you shouldn't do that. That's also JW programming. Nobody's an XJW to police. And here's the thing, all of us are intelligent enough, even the ones that maybe don't think they're intelligent. We do not need another XJW channel to think for us and say, you should not watch this person because they said this and they did this and you don't need that. So from the person who's not in the drama, that's a sign to stay away from. You don't need any XJW to feel they have to tell you anything that you shouldn't, that this person's views are wrong or this person this or this person that. Watch everything, kind of like what you said about my video. Everybody just watch the content and you can make your own decision. And whatever it is, it's okay, but you don't have to try to force somebody to see it the way that you see it. And that's the problem too. Like, you don't like me, fine. You don't have to feel you have to force people to also shun people or cut people off because they have different opinions. But ultimately, like, yeah, the program I'm naming is Comply or Be Silent. So we learned it from Watchtower, but it does not apply now. If you don't like what somebody's saying, you can reach out to them. You can say something. You can even say it in a comment. You don't have to be nasty. And if the person does not comply, if they still disagree with you, then it is what it is. You don't have to then attack them. You don't have to be nasty. And when you do hear these nasty things going on about people, remember, you always have to confront the person to verify what they're hearing. And if you don't feel comfortable confronting the person because you don't know them that well, then that's a clue of mind your own business because it has nothing to do with you, and you don't have to have a dependent on it. It just has nothing to do with you. So keep it moving.
And if you do want to move forward, then I'm your person. I'm not gonna coddle XJWs. I'm not gonna continue to listen to the trauma stories without that. Okay, what's next? What are we gonna do to fix this? I'm not gonna coddle you. I'm not gonna that is stunting your growth. Yes, you went through something. We all went through something. We're all human. That doesn't make you any different than us. But what are you gonna do from here on forward? Are you gonna continue with it? Are you gonna continue staying stuck? Or are you gonna get up and do something about it? Say something about it, change habits, grow, read, get a job, do something. If you're willing to move forward, I'm here for you. I will spend time talking to you. I would give that time and energy. If you're willing to move forward, if you're willing to agree to disagree, if you're willing to be respectful, because I would give the same respect. It's a two-way street. If you're willing to move forward, join me, join us, whatever. Because I am not going to just sit there and say, sorry, it's okay. You're better now. And then not do anything about it. No, let's get a plan. Let's help you move forward. This is, like I said, this is not a place to stay stagnant. You need to move forward. Yes, you may disagree, but let's move forward.
Yeah, and to me and Ruby getting together for this, it's for you, the public, and those watching. It's not for us. We already feel the way we feel about these things and we're content. But this main purpose is really just to put out here why we're speaking up and to give people the information they need to move on and to recognize the toxicity and just don't get involved with it. We've already figured it out, but we're doing this because we do care about the community, that we're trying to help it.
Right. And we're trying to continue that unity, to heal, because there's like hundreds of people in this community, hundreds of people from all different backgrounds, ages, politics, religions. Everything is different, but we somehow get along, and that's through respect. And the only reason why I'm speaking again about this is because it involved us. It was on your channel, it was in reference to me. So I felt it appropriate to continue the conversation without giving too much of my specific opinion about the specific comment, but to generalize it and to open up the discourse. More people need to talk about this. If it didn't involve me and it wasn't that bad, I would just tell you, Quinn, delete it, get rid of it, it's not worth it, I would talk to you personally. I wouldn't even do this publicly. But then I was like, you know what? I think it's still necessary. So even though I really don't want to, I'm going to, because like you said, it's a great example of how to expose this unfortunate avenue in our community that continues to exist. Like, this should have been dealt with a very long time ago.
I'm glad you brought that up, because they have a distorted view of what the EXJW community is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a community of fellow ex-cult members who were all in the same brainwashed religion, and we should be able to come together because we all had that experience with Watchtower. That's where it ends. There's no reason to attack anybody. That's all that the community should exist. It's just the fact that, and then if you feel close and you want to make actual friends with people and get to know them, do that. But this whole trying to attack channels you don't like, it defeats the purpose of what a community is supposed to be. And one thing I want to say too regarding that is that if you look at all the content on my channel, that it's all basically me breaking down Watchtower. So people that try to get my channel taken down or attack me and all this is like, I'm going into areas that a lot of XJWs do not want to go into. And some of them don't have the capability of breaking it down the way that I do. So if I'm helping people wake up out of this religion, I'm just curious, like, what is the purpose of trying to attack my channel, even me, because I'm there to present information. Regardless of what you say about me, the symbols are still there. What I'm exposing, it's still there, it still exists. So attacking me like, what, you think the symbols are going to disappear out of Watchtower because of my reputation? That's all I'm here to do. So I just want to keep that in mind for people that are trying to, like, just think when you hear this type of slander, really ask yourself, what is their motive of doing it? I'm just here to create content to help the XJW community. But I'm glad that we did this. I know that we could probably go for another hour, so I think that, like, we have to just.
No, we're good. I think we touched on everything, and that is going to be taken. Like, if you're listening to this video, if you're watching it, by now you should not be confused. Like, there's no excuse about, oh, I didn't understand, or as if we're trying to mislead, or no, we are being fully transparent. Like, I am telling it straight up the way it is. There's no room for confusion. By now you should understand where we're coming from. You should understand, if you didn't take anything else and you need to take away one thing, the only thing that you should be taking away is treat others how you want to be treated. Very simple. And that we're on the same side. We're not enemies. That's it. That is it. And hopefully, these comments are less, or somebody else would say something like, that this sounds really inappropriate. I'm sorry, but this doesn't sound right. More people would stand up to it. More people would be more brave enough. People would think before they speak. Think before you type. We're just trying to give that awareness, right? So I think we have done it. You know, we've explained it, we gave examples, we gave personal experiences. This is not something new. This is not new. This is gonna happen. It's not the first or the last time.
And my final words are going to be, remember that people can have a different opinion. You do not have to attack them. Comply or be silenced is what we learned in Watchtower. You don't have to try to silence somebody because it's something that they don't like. You can disagree with them in the comments, but there's no reason to attack them. Say what you want to say, but you don't need to attack them. And if you're really triggered by my channel, Ruby's channel, or other conservative EXJW channels, if you're really triggered by it, it's not healthy to watch the people that trigger you. Just keep it moving. I honestly, and I know people think I'm lying about this, but I honestly do not watch the channels I don't like. I don't have time for it. I don't have any interest in it. Why would I want to put myself through the misery of hearing a channel of somebody I do not like and keep watching? So you feel better, just watch the people you like. Everybody can have their own opinion. Don't attack people. And when people cyberbully, when somebody does finally stand up, don't attack them for standing up, because it's the law of karma. It will happen. So don't bully people. And if you don't want to be called out, don't cyberbully people.
It's very simple.